Hello, everybody. If Nadia could just take over a second, because I just need to go to the door, that would be lovely. I'll be back in a minute.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Hi Nadia, really good, thank you. How are you? Like the
Yes,
new
thank
look?
you. Thank you
Very
so
good.
much.
Future, yeah, no, very good.
You are the only person on right now.
Am I
So,
really?
have you got questions for us?
Um, not directly or anything. It's really just I joined. I used to be regular on. It's obviously when I can find time, and obviously with the new white papers being passed, and obviously all of the updates coming in. It's really I thought let me just I've got the opportunity, click on and see what's being discussed, etc.
Okay. Well, what I was going to do today is I was going to ask if anyone had any questions right now that we could answer as much as we know right now
Right.
regarding some of the upcoming changes. Now, we don't have a lot of information. We
Still
have
not.
what's out there, but we're a bit more used to getting it together and interpreting it. So,
Yeah.
if you have any questions about any of those points
So,
specifically, we'll do our
when's
best to answer as well as we can.
when's the timeline? Is it 1st of April? Is that likely to happen?
You see, now that's the first question right in there that we don't have an answer for. No, some of it we know. So the SSP changes and some of the union-related changes that is unlikely to impact on you because they tend to be for really big unionized organizations at this point. Those are coming in around the 6th of April. Caroline, is there anything else that we know for sure?
I'm just gonna go and check. There's a few things. There's the SSP particularly. There was stuff from the end of December regarding early conciliation is longer now. It's now 12 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's a lot of stuff coming in October this year. So I'm
Yeah.
just pulling up my document for that.
Yeah. So I can quickly talk you roughly through some of the SSP stuff, which is probably the next thing that's going to hit you.
Right.
Okay.
As I understand it, the biggest change is obviously the 2 years has been changed to 6 months, isn't it? Is that the biggest or one of the biggest changes?
Well, yes,
Is
but
that
it hasn't
is it
been changed.
correct?
It hasn't been definitively stated that it's 6 months. We think
Yeah.
it's going to be 6 months. It could be 9 months. Who knows? But it's not until 2027, probably not until April 2027. And they need to release the
Okay. Right.
details, which is probable that they're going to say everybody who's employed from the 1st of April 2027, it's the first 6 months, as opposed to anybody you have on your books already. It's 27. It's a bit like when they changed it from 1 year's protection to 2 years, or lack of protection and 2 years, that there was a transition phase. And you had to ask when exactly did they start to know what they should do. But again, this is next April in a year's time. They haven't even given us all the details for SSP this April yet.
Because I did
Yeah.
hear a report I read
And
that
there's still a bit of a ping pong about that specific one because some parties wanted to be what was promised, which was a day one right.
yeah, that's the bit I'd heard, which I was scared about.
Yeah, and other parties are being a little bit more rational and saying, hold on, can we just make it a lot shorter than 2 years, but not get rid of it completely? Because in early days, things can just not work out and we need an option to deal with it. So they're ping-ponging it between them until they come to some sort of agreement.
Okay. And with SSP, you say that's obviously changing fairly soon.
Yeah.
How long do you need to be with the company before you're entitled to SSP?
Well, this is the thing. It's a day one right, just like maternity leave is a day one
Yeah.
right, and how paternity leave is going to become a day one right. So it's a day one right, and it's based on how much they earn. So it used to be that you had to earn over the lower earnings level to
Yes.
qualify. That's been scrapped.
That's changed.
So
Yeah.
if you earn less than that, it's 80% of your average weekly pay. They have not defined how we're going to do that. Is it based over 8 weeks, or is it based over one day? Or because obviously in the first week you actually haven't earned anything, so you couldn't actually get anything. But after the first week, you've worked for a week, it's 80% then of your pay from day one, that type of thing.
Yeah. But sorry, did you say it will be 80%? Because currently it's only about £119 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, 80% of their weekly wage. Not 80% of 119, 80% of their weekly wage is what they will get if they earn under the lower earnings level.
So if it was somebody that was on 30 grand, or no, so if I said, right, 24 grand is under the minimum wage, or it will be. But
so you need to do it more on an hourly basis or something. If they were at £10 an hour, I know that's illegal, but if they were at £10 an hour and they'd only done sort of 2 hours, they would get £16.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And that's changing on the 6th of April, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And that will be automatically in your payroll system. Your payroll software should automatically update. If it's not, then that is a flaw in your payroll system. You need to change it. But it should all be in there. So you put in that somebody is sick, it will automatically tell you what they're entitled to.
Right. Okay.
There'll also be SSP will also be payable from day one of the absence. There will be no more waiting days.
Right.
So at the moment, majority of our clients, and I'm sorry I don't have your handbook in front of me, but the majority of our clients pay SSP after the 3-day waiting period, so from the 4th day onwards. So the first 3 days is unpaid. That's going to fall away. So SSP will be paid from the first day of the absence, and then in line with the way that Carolyne's just explained it.
Okay.
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 So the other thing that's coming in is paternity leave. Is a day one right, but there's no right to pay. The pay is only after 26 weeks, just like maternity, but the paternity leave right is from day one. I don't know why it wasn't day one already, to be honest. But there you go. Then we also have sexual harassment. This is also April. Sexual harassment is being added to the whistleblowing legislation. So if an employee raises that sexual harassment has taken place, is taking place, or is likely to take place, past, present, future, and they have a detriment or are fired for that, then they can claim whistleblowing protection, which means that if you fire them and they start a tribunal, that you would have, if they get that protection, and that's at the beginning of this process, not at the end, you would have to pay them their salary all the way through until the court decides whether it is whistleblowing or not. And even if the employee loses, they never have to pay you their salary back. So if they're on $30,000 a year and you fired them because they're a troublemaker, in your opinion, and they claim whistleblowing protection, you would have to pay them £30,000 a year, even though they don't work for you, until it comes to court. And once the decision goes against them, fine, you don't pay it anymore, but you never get it back. Yeah?
Well, going to cause major problems, isn't it? When people know about that, effectively they can claim whistleblowers right when it actually hasn't happened or not likely to happen.
No. It almost never happens. The problem is that golf clubs do not deal with sexual harassment because, Bob, he's been here for 30 years. He always buys a round. He's the captain of the seniors. That's the problem. Not people raising it.
Yeah, but
not people raising it.
I could claim that now in some form and come up with an example. And then, from that point of view, and then if I was fired and then literally, so I could be paid for, it's going to be a couple of years, isn't it?
Yes, you could. But the thing is, the golf club can deal with it properly by one, not firing them, because if they haven't been fired, they can't claim it, can they?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if they've raised it, and if they've raised it, then you deal with it in a proper process, disciplinary investigations, having a sanction against the person who's all those things. So it's not that they just claim it. It's that if the club doesn't deal with it properly, and the point being, and that's my blog this week, is the government is up to here with sexual harassment. It's like, stop Stop it. It's no longer acceptable. So that's from April as well. It's added to whistleblowing. Okay. Parental leave is also now a day one right. So that used to be after 26 weeks, but that's going to be unpaid anyway. We don't have many of those. Then October, golf clubs are going to be golf clubs, not just golf clubs. They didn't say golf clubs. All employers are legally responsible for protecting their staff from harassment, any type of harassment. And that's on the basis of any protected characteristic. And that means that you are liable for your members' behaviour, legally liable for your members. You need to stop your members doing stuff because you can be sued for what they do. Just like you can be sued as a golf club for what your staff do. Okay? So you need to start training certainly the officers of the club, that they all do the same training as your staff should be doing. And if you have any sexual or any harassment incidents, that you absolutely come down on it like a ton of bricks, because otherwise you're going to be sued and you have to show that you've done everything. That's the thing. There is no more, Bobby's the captain of the seniors. There is no more of that. The judge doesn't care about it. The law doesn't care about it. If he has been going around patting females on the bottom, or we've had actually a racial and religious discrimination one in one of our clubs recently, as well as somebody who was deaf, and the head greenkeeper thought it was hilarious to make jokes about him being deaf. It's like, what planet are you on? Honestly, any of those that the members get involved in, you can be sued for what the members do. So you need to make it clear to the members that while they might think it's their club, it's not, and they need to behave themselves. Yeah. Okay, that was third-party harassment. And then sexual harassment gets more that you have to have taken all reasonable steps to prevent sexual harassment, not just reasonable steps. So that's from October. Okay, fire and rehire doesn't really affect you. It's more the bigger companies. But if you think you're doing restructuring, it'd be better to do it before October rather than afterwards, because you might have to justify it more afterwards. Okay.
Right.
And then next year, there's the right to guaranteed hours for 0 hours workers. And that's more details are going to come out for that. Unfair dismissal, again, we think it's going to be 6 months, and we need to, and this is what I've been saying at my GCMA talks, you certainly need to raise your trial period to 6 months if it isn't already, and you need to get, and it's usually F&B, get sort of review process going. The review being stop, start, continue. So every week you have somebody new, the supervisor goes to them and says, right, stop doing that, stop going on your phone when you should be working, start smiling when you serve beer, and continue doing it, whatever you're doing. Okay, that is the extent of it. That gets recorded on their phone, put into AI. AI gives you the summary with the action points. That gets given to the employee. So it's really easy for the supervisor to do. So that when you get to the end of the 6 months and they're not suitable, you've got this chain of information where they were told what to do, really easy, not onerous, and you can go, yeah, come on, you've got 5 things here saying don't go on your phone, and you still go on your phone, you're out of here, thank you. And you will need that next year, because even if it is only after 6 months that you have to use a disciplinary and everything, there is no guarantee that you will just be able to say, oh, Caroline, off you go, bye-bye, under 6 months. There may well be something we need to do. So you need to get your teams used to doing these basic review things to be able to protect you. It's going to be a shock to the system anyway. If you only do it in April next year, I can see chaos. I can see chaos coming, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to get your managers into the habit. Get them trained slowly but surely now, so that they are, by next year, they're already in the habit of doing this with new starters, doing those quick weekly reviews. This is like a 10-minute meeting in most cases, right? Just these quick weekly reviews, and having the paperwork and the paper trail saved for this. Because otherwise, if you're trying to introduce this next year at the same time as the law changes, you're going to have 6 months of them forgetting.
Right,
or forgetting to follow it up in writing, or saying, I spoke to them but no, I didn't record it. No, I didn't send an email afterwards to say what we said, in which case, absolutely useless. So if you can get them to do it now and you can iron those kinks out before April, that would be good.
Yes. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's also a sort of practice thing as well to see whether you've got the right supervisors in place. Because if they are unwilling or unable to do that now when it's not crucial, then they're not going to be able to do it when it is crucial. That's the thing. You need to get rid of them as well and make sure they are able to do this. And if they need more training,
there'll be no one left.
we can do training. We've got time to do training for people. But if they are unwilling to do it, they're not the right person in the job, are they? I mean, that's the thing.
Right, yeah.
You get paid to do the shit stuff. You don't get paid to do the nice stuff, do you?
And remember, this might result in you having to performance manage some of those managers who are not willing to really manage.
Right.
That's probably going to be a result of this for everyone. Because, you know, the amount of times that we see someone has got all the way up to 18 months before a manager then says we need to get rid of them. And we're like, how many times have you spoken to them about this, talked to them about this? Oh, 3 times in 18 months. Right. You know, and right now we're like, okay, sure, here's a letter, let them go. But realistically, what this tells us is that is a non-existent practice. Issues are just kind of, employees are just told, stop doing that, get off your phone. You know, there isn't proper processes for things. So, and that is already the culture, not just in your business. Don't know specifically your business, but overall in our group of clients, we can see that the culture is not to deal with these things in such a regular and documented way. And it's rather just off the cuff while in the middle of service, oi, get off your phone kind of comments. And that's worthless. That's worthless when we come to the point of dealing with an issue. So, yeah, if managers need to be performance managed because they're refusing to manage, which this is, then that's a different problem, isn't it?
Can I suggest or request that you hold one of these Zoom calls and actually, for instance, not just myself, but the way you publicise it to other managers, it highlights the importance of this section by itself. And actually then we have one of these meetings purely on that. And it might be, because I'm thinking of one person, I would need to bring her into the meeting to show her the importance of this, how important it is for our business. And I'm sure every golf club has got at least one of the managers that actually by themselves seemingly does a good job, but doesn't necessarily manage their team properly. Yeah. And they will become answerable. Company will if we don't do things the right way by the book over and over again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what we're doing. I'm doing it, all the GCMA meetings that I'm talking about. I'm going to say, I keep getting, every day I get, could you come and talk to us about the changes? So the point, and in those talks, I'm saying, this is what you need to put in place. You're absolutely right. We need to do it then as a webinar, but it's a little bit, vague as to when it's coming in, because if it turns out it's in April 2028, nobody wants to find out about it in 2026, do they? We'd have to put it off anyway. But it's just
it would be a good thing to actually get that in place now, and it will allow us or make them evaluate the new staff that they've taken on board, because sometimes, for instance, if you say an example of, you're not supposed to be using your phone, but have they been told that in the first place? Well, everybody else uses it. So I thought I was allowed, but we need to not just to one person, everyone needs to be told you shouldn't be on your phone now. Look, there's a customer just come around the corner. And, but actually, like you say, if we put it into it and created a good process now, it would make it easier when it finally does come in, because we're already fluent in that process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, so we were waiting, to be honest, like, before I started doing any webinars, I was waiting for a bit more detail about the SSP, about the sort of loopholes that we could maybe use to our advantage, because it isn't clearly defined, again, about that first week. When does it kick in? Do they have to have been with you for 1 week, 2 weeks? It's supposed to be a day one, right? But how are we going to get the information? So I was hoping, I honestly, I thought January was so long, the government will have given us that information by the end of January. And there's no information. So it's so you're absolutely right. I need to do that before I go off to India on the 22nd. So because otherwise I'm back on the 15th of March, and then it's almost April. So yeah, we need to do that before I go. Absolutely, yeah, and give people a chance to process it and get their thoughts about what they need to do next out. Yeah.
And are you able to possibly consider a we think timeline with all of the, as you kind of highlighted earlier, or, we're not going to hold you to it, but actually it would be helpful from our point of view, because I'll put a calendar in, we need to get up on so-and-so for October. So we'll do that in August.
Yeah, I'll send you the PowerPoint I did at the GCMA Chilterns last week, and that's got the timeline. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So that's got the timeline in there, and you can and then we can go through more details, and actually we can send you the transcript, a summary. We can do a summary from this, can't we, Eve? A summary of it. So then you've got sort of the action points in there as well. Yeah.
Okay.
No problem at all. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Loads of changes. Yay. So bring back memories of furlough. It's like, no, please don't do that. No. Oh, gosh. Yes, it's like many things in life. You get through it and you're like, yeah, we've done that. And then somebody says, oh, you could go and do that again. You're like, no. I got through it the first time and that was fine. Don't need to do it again. Thank you very much. Melanie Pointer, have you got any questions?
Based on what you were saying earlier about golf club managers being responsible for their members, does that mean I'm responsible for my patients?
Yes. Yep, 100%.
Right, because the thing is, I guess over the years, it doesn't happen very often, but it has happened. And it's very difficult because the numbers of people that you see, you're going to get the odd one that's either non-PC or whatever they're going to do, who might make a comment or there's something, whatever. And historically, we've always raised, like if the person was referred to us from a company, we've always raised it with the company and said we don't want to see the patient again, etc., and done what we can do. If it's a self-funding client, then we just say we're not happy to see you anymore. But what else can we do? I mean, you can't control people like that. Do you know what I mean? In that sense.
Your situation, Mal, is a slightly bit different than golf clubs. Golf clubs have a little bit more control here over their members, right? Because their members are members. So they're joined up to the club and paying. So Caroline and I struggle to understand why you couldn't just at a renewal date send out a link and say, you can renew once you've completed this. But we get that golf clubs aren't there yet, right? We get it. We don't understand why it can't work that way, but we don't run golf clubs.
But surely golf clubs have terms and conditions you have to abide by.
Oh, yeah. Let's conduct and all of that stuff.
And you just add it to that?
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. So what I'm trying to say is golf clubs have more ability to actually control this in their members and train their members. We fully understand that we and if the law will understand that you don't have the option to say to your clients, oh, complete this before you come in. Although, this training course, we're maybe not so far off that as we might think. But you can have some sort of statement with your booking that kind of states very clearly that there is a zero tolerance policy for any form of harassment and that kind of thing. And you'll need some
we have posters. We have posters up saying we don't tolerate harassment.
Yeah, but if you have someone booking their appointment online or getting a reminder online of their appointment or getting a confirmation online of their appointment, if you have quite a strong statement in there regarding this, as you would have a cancellation statement, I'm very sure, you know, then you are already taking action. And then you're right. The other area that you need to look at is obviously you've got the last bit right, which is the moment there's any complaint, get rid. Don't investigate, don't look into it, just say you're out, you know. But the middle bit is that you need to ensure that your staff are trained, that they know how to, you know, how to deal with this, how to report it to you, you know, that kind of thing, that those channels are really open and your policies are clear on what to do if this happens to you, you know. Get up, walk out, tell reception immediately, don't go back in the room, whatever the policy is. But that gives you another tick in that we do everything we can. We take all action we can. Yeah. So you've pre-warned people coming to you. You have a policy that your employees can follow, or a process if something happens immediately, what they can do about it. And you have, after we become aware, this is what we do process.
Okay. I've got one other short question, and that is a few weeks ago I asked you about reducing workers' hours because it's in the contract, and I spoke to, because I've got one who's sponsored, one's not, and I decided to do it to the one who's not sponsored because obviously it's easier. So they said they would reduce their hours, but they'd do it for holiday and not actual officially reduce. So they've done that. Things haven't picked up as much as I want. I'm going to have another conversation with them. So I know you have to give notice. What I'm trying to say is, because we've already had conversations about it, is that the notice, or do I now have to start the notice?
Not sure. I'm sorry.
Are you referring to short-term work?
Yeah.
Right. So do you currently have a short-time working arrangement in place in writing?
No. So what happened was I put it to them and said, we need to do this, to put it in writing. And they said, can we do it where we use my holiday? And first of all, and I was like, okay, fine, we'll do that initially. So we did that and we've done that, but it's not picking up. So now I need to do the thing. So do I go back to the beginning, or can I just say, we've already discussed this X time ago and I discussed it, but, you know.
Yeah, so you can do that because actually you have the clauses and stuff in your contract that allow you to do that. Just because I know that you do. Yes. So yeah, you can actually do that. You can have that conversation. Now you want to be reasonable, you know, don't have the conversation with them today and say from tomorrow. But if you had the conversation today, you could say, look, from next week. So that is reasonable because it is a follow-up conversation. They're not blindsided. It's not coming out of the blue. And
no. And they know all this stuff. They know the diaries are down and everything. Everyone knows the situation.
I'm just concerned a little. It's giving me a little tick, little twitch. That I understand the logic of doing it with that employee because it's easier. Is a judge going to think that's fair?
Right.
Yeah, sorry, that's a question from the other staff.
In fact, on the back of that, if you've got admin staff and you've got clinical staff, right, the clinical staff, obviously, if they don't see the people, they haven't got work to do, the admin have. So if I've got an admin person who's a 0 hours but usually does the equivalent of full time, if I'm reducing the hours of a physio, should I also reduce the hours of the admin?
No. So short-time working, and we get this question a lot, so actually it's a really great question. Short-time working can be applied to a group of roles or a department or an area of work. So let's use golf clubs as an example because it gives us a really clear example. Your members have paid for and therefore are still playing golf. Therefore, your green staff still need to work their full hours. There is a need, even if business is down, even if revenue is down. However, F&B is seeing a real downturn in business because people are not spending anything extra. They're not having to spend extra money to play golf. They've already paid their subs. But they don't want to come in and order 3 beers and lunch because they don't have the money to do that. So the food and beverage department is impacted, but the office isn't impacted because work keeps happening, and the greens isn't impacted because people are still playing golf. So that's the situation you have here. Your actual, practitioners as such are impacted because there isn't the work for them to physically do, but your admin team's not impacted because your business is still running. If anything, you're probably increasing marketing and things to try and deal with your downturn. So their work is still full. So therefore, you can apply this to just a group of roles. What bothers me is that if you have 2 people doing the same job, you're picking one and not the other one for a reason that wouldn't be viewed as fair.
Right.
The fact that it's harder to do this because they are on a sponsorship is not an acceptable reason, I think. And if anything, I feel it's giving me a twitch.
Okay.
I don't know how, Caroline, but it's making me worry that if you have some sort of complaint coming out of that for like victimization or, I don't know, targeting, I don't know, unfair pay, whatever, you're going to have problems. So you need to apply that reduction in hours fairly across your practitioners.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I hope that was helpful.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, lots of information. Sorry, Stephen, did you have another question?
I don't know if I've read or imagined. Is there going to be a change to 0-hour contracts?
Not yes and no. There's going to be the right to, and this again, we don't have a date for this. This is 2027 at some point. That if they've been with you for 12 weeks and it's been whatever their average hours are, that I think at the moment you as the employer are supposed to be going to them and offering them a part-time contract with those guaranteed hours.
Yeah.
We've done about 5 members of staff where we've done that too over the last couple of years, but in each circumstance they've actually said, no, it doesn't suit me.
And that's fine. That's fine. So this is another one of those. It's a bit of a ping pong at the moment. So one side says you must automatically, a little bit like auto enrollment, you must automatically offer them this, and then they must say no, thank you if they don't want it. And I think they actually need to be offered it again at some point, right? That's what the one side is suggesting, and that's sort of where it's sitting at the moment. And then the other side is suggesting that employees should have the right to request it after this time. So an employee has to come to you to say, I now want this, and you can't technically say no. But they are ping-ponging that around until they decide what to do with it. But it's all got to do with the regular working and the guaranteed hours. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Okay. But good. Okay. Well, we'll send the information over to you, Stephen. Like I said earlier, that's not a problem. And and then we'll see you all here again next Thursday. All right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you want a free peace of mind call with us to discuss your policies, handbook, and any burning staff issues in your business, click the link in the description below.